With the Phoenix Suns making the NBA Finals last season and breaking their own playoff drought, the Sacramento Kings now have far and away the longest playoff drought in the NBA and are nearing the all-time record for the most seasons by an NBA franchise without reaching the playoffs. But it's not like this team doesn't have any talent on their roster. They have De'Aaron Fox, who is supposed to be their franchise player, the guy they build around, is coming off a stellar campaign last season and earned himself a Supermax extension. They also have other members of this young core, another young guard in Tyrese Halliburton. And this past season, they drafted the defensive beast Davion Mitchell out of Baylor, who was huge in their national championship run. So they have three young guards, but they also have some other players on this team, that definitely are quality players themselves. Maybe not as young, guys such as Harrison Barnes, who this season is having a very good year, and Buddy Hield, who definitely has gained himself a reputation as one of the better shooters in all of the NBA. Richaun Holmes is also a solid center, very solid center actually, and he's going to be a free agent this offseason who's going to get himself a very sizable contract, I would guess. Very versatile player. But going into this season, the Kings started this year with Luke Walton as their head coach, which that in itself was a bit questionable, but nonetheless, they gave Walton a chance to prove himself as an NBA coach, as so far he had not been able to do that, and he still wasn't able to do that early in this year, and it didn't take long for the Kings to fire him. Obviously, there's a sense of patience being lost within the organization. They want to make the playoffs and be good now. And in their first 30 games of the season, they have been 12-18, so their chances aren't looking great right now. And their poor play has got to start with the man who is supposed to be their best player, in De'Aaron Fox, coming off a career year last year, got that Supermax extension, big expectations to lead this Kings team this year, and he's really struggled to find consistency this season. Fox's points per game have gone down by 4, and his efficiency has been a real problem. Last season, he looked like a decent three-point shooter. This year, he's back to being not that good three-point shooter, which was really the main concern with him coming out of the 2017 draft. He is now only shooting 26%. He shot 32% last season, also shooting 45% from the field this season, and shot 48% last year. This season, he's averaging 21 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 1 three-pointer made per game. Last season, which was great from him, he averaged 25, 7 assists, and 2 threes made a game in a season where he really did look like an all-NBA type of player. And even though Luke Walton and De'Aaron Fox have most definitely not done their jobs to the best of their ability, the Sacramento Kings problems definitely run deeper than just that. And ever since Walton was fired, the Kings, they still haven't been playing well. They have a decent starting lineup, I would say, and they have 3 really good guards in Fox, Halliburton, and their lottery pick Davion Mitchell. But besides Harrison Barnes, they lack real wing talent. Terrence Davis is a decent young player who's getting a second chance with the Kings. He's had some nice performances this year. And as for the big men on this team, Chimezie Metu's alright. Tristan Thompson's pretty washed. Richaun Holmes is solid. He's also a free agent this summer, though. And you also have Marvin Bagley, the former number 2 overall pick, who's had a mostly disappointing career. And I do still think could be a good NBA player, but I seriously doubt it's with the Kings. I think he's got to have a new opportunity. I think he's got to move on, or they got to move on from him and let him get a fresh start. But this team's top-end talent, it's not crazy, but it's not terrible either. A starting lineup of Fox, Halliburton, Buddy Hield, maybe Harrison Barnes and Rashawn Holmes is not bad at all. And then you have guys like Bagley, and Terrence Davis off the bench, but that's about it. You got Davion Mitchell too, who's a great defender. I think is going to be a very good NBA player, but besides that, I mean, this team really just lacks depth badly. And I think what's so tough about the situation the Sacramento Kings are currently in is that it's completely understandable. They want to win right now. I mean, they've had so many just years of being so bad. They've gone through multiple rebuilds in this time. And going into this year, it finally looked like, I mean, as I said, they don't have great depth, but it finally looked like they have a nice young core that is ready to, really try to win some games, maybe be a play-in team, maybe sneak in to them top 8 seeds, but it just hasn't happened, and it's really tough because they're just stuck in the middle. I mean, they probably do not want to just tear it down and rebuild, and I don't think they should definitely do that because they definitely have good assets, or some good assets, I should say. They have 3 good young guards, but something they could look into is actually trading De'Aaron Fox. It sounds crazy because he's by far the best player on this team, but their GM did have 2 straight drafts where he picked a guard in a lottery, and you gotta think that's for a reason. The GM they currently have was not the one who picked De'Aaron Fox. With that being said, they did just give him an extension, but there was a report recently from Brian Windhorst that said there's been a lot of smoke surrounding his name, and that lack of depth could really be addressed in a De'Aaron Fox trade. They could get some really good assets, and they probably want a wing in return, I would guess, because besides Harrison Barnes, they don't really have any other quality players on the wing. They have maybe 1 or 2 quality big men, depending if you consider Marvin Bagley a quality big man. I probably wouldn't. He's a talented player, but he's still not a great NBA player at this stage of his career. And while trading Fox, they could get depth in other positions while still, having 2 really good young guards and still, being strong at the point guard position. And another thing about Halliburton and Davion Mitchell is that they could both guard multiple positions, and they're both combo guards. So I'm not saying definitely trade De'Aaron Fox, but it's an interesting prospect that, even though this guy is supposed to be their franchise player, it could be the right direction for the Kings to go. I'm not saying definitely, but the way their roster's built right now, there's not a lot of flexibility. They almost traded Buddy Hield this offseason. I think he'll probably be on the move soon, but he is on a very sizable contract, which will not be easy to move, but he definitely could bring his shooting to a playoff team. It could definitely help a team this year. I would probably expect him to be dealt by the deadline, but besides that, I mean, maybe they trade Marvin Bagley. Who else is really valuable? I don't think they trade Davion Mitchell or Halliburton. Those 2 guys seem to be the future of this team. Guys like Alex Len or Mo Harkless have no value. Harrison Barnes has some decent value, but again, he's on such a big contract. He's a very good player. He's a very good role player, or could be on a championship team, and we saw that with the Golden State Warriors. He has added some more scoring to his game. He's a good defender and all that, and he's maybe been the Kings' most reliable player this season, but I mean, he's on a big contract too, as I said, and besides that, I don't know what flexibility the Kings really have. They got to make a move. I don't think they could just stay stuck in this place that they are right now, and a move that definitely, could make sense is trading De'Aaron Fox. With that being said, though, it's certainly not something the Kings should force or anything like that. He also has had some recent comments saying stuff like, "I haven't lost till I came here." I don't know if those comments have any value, but it will be definitely interesting to see the future of Fox and the Sacramento Kings team and what their direction is.